what's up, audience? Just gonna record a real quick video about separation and union and kind of put this confusion to the rest about is it separation good or is it union good? you know, because sometimes people say it's like don't judge other people, right? Now, how can you live a life with not a single judgment? Try it. Good luck. You're going to be 100% pushed around. If somebody comes clearly with bad intents, you say, well, I don't want to judge that person. Why do I assume that person is bad, even though you clearly feel that that person is not any good? And so that gets you in trouble. So what does it teach you when that happens? What actually is that separation and union. It's basically something that's separate and something that is open, something that it dissects and something that is accepts. Okay, so if you live your life and okay, forget about living your life. If you the answer is that neither separation, neither union is good or bad. It's how you use it. Because there's certain things that absolutely has to be separate, and certain things that absolutely have to be unified, and that is the art. If you separate the wrong thing, you're gonna get your lesson. If you accept the wrong thing or unify the wrong thing, you're gonna get your lesson. The fact is that there's certain things that has to be separate, certain things that has to be unified, and the ego is everything about how it is done the opposite and the wrong way. Ego separates what's supposed to be unified and unifies what's supposed to be separate. But your soul, your wisdom, puts everything into the right order. Separates what's supposed to be separate and unifies what's supposed to be unified. Therefore, there is no argument whether separation or union is good or bad. It's how you use it. So that's why there are a lot of problems with this idea of love and not judge. And that's just perfect if you do that for the matrix evil to just swoop in and take all your energy. So that's why the answer is you got to use it appropriately. And so absolutely certain things has to be separate. But if you separate the right things and unify the right things, you're going to have a complete picture. And that's the whole game. It's all about the game of life. Put things where they belong. But you cannot do that unless you yourself is whole and see all the fragments and where do they belong. That's how you're going to project your reality, and that's how you're going to be arranging your life. You will be separating the things that has to be separate and unifying the things that has to be unified. And so whoever is living life like that, you will see that that person's life is organized, not open, to whatever. No, everything has to be put in the right place. Okay? And by the way, there's separation in masculine, union is feminine. That's why, what you say, like, well, the union is good and separation is bad, or separation is good and union is good. See where that takes you. That's nonsense. That's still ego nonsense. Wrong separation is wrong. Wrong union is wrong. Correct separation is correct. Correct union is correct. That's the answer. Okay? So let's not. And I mean, you can see it in what happens when there's an incorrect separation and incorrect union. Let's open all the boundaries of the country. Let's let everybody in. We're all just one fucking family, And what the hell happens? wrong. The feedback says, no, what the hell are you doing? Separation should be where it belongs. Okay? And that's wisdom. I lived this and I tested it out for myself. I bought into this kumbaya, not judging or whatever. I mean, the word judge is, yes, how can you judge a person unless you really, really know that person? And so that's why to really, really know that person, you got to be one with that person, which means that you got to be really connected with your own self to even see where that person needs to be put. If the person is full of darkness, you're not going to put him where, like very innocent people hang out or whatever, that would be really bad fathering. You got to put that, if it's a lot of darkness, you got to lock that motherfucker up, you know what I'm saying? And this is what's happening right now. A lot of dark people are getting locked up, found out, locked up. And that's how it's supposed to be. You got to segregate these people. And so they can go with their own ego destruction. And then every time more and more ego is being destroyed, then they belong to other, uh, groups of people. Then you can trust them, that they're not going to stab you in the back if they just hang out with you. You see what I'm trying to say? So that's, you can call it discernment if you don't. That's why I don't like when people say like, well, don't judge. I mean, of course, the only way you can actually judge accurately, if you judge from the ego, then yeah, you're probably just projecting your own crap. But there's another side. When you connect with your own wisdom, you can see how to discern. You can see that like, hey, no, this person is you don't just say, oh, I don't want to be judgmental. No, you got to be, you can call it discernment if you will. But anyway, hopefully that clarifies and the confusion about whether judging is wrong, segregating, separating is wrong, or unifying is wrong, and so on and so on. So there's two sides of it, right? There's the ego and there's the soul. What works in the ego does not work in the soul, and vice versa. Okay? That's why, like, when you live like the ego world and the things that worked in the ego world, and then you say you want to uh, try to do the same thing where the soulful people live and nothing works. You're going to be pushed out. It's like oil and water. It does not mix. It segregates itself naturally. The energies do not mix. The frequencies or vibrations, whatever you want to call it, they just do not mix. And if you don't have the right boundaries, if you don't separate things in the correct way, then you cannot even sustain your own, vibes, because you're leaking all the time. So of course you got to see. That's why even the word hermeticism, right? If you look at the word hermetic, it seems like isolated from everything else. But the paradox is when you isolate, what you do is you isolate your individuality, but in that individuality, in that like the most deep separateness from everything else, you find the unity, and vice versa. If you follow the truth, you will find love. If you follow the love, you will find truth. Okay? And there is no love without truth. And there is no truth without love. It's not sustainable. If you live a lie and you have a momentary, feelings of love, if you live a lie, it's gonna go. It's gonna go. Only the truth can sustain love. So, okay? So it's like what I'm trying to say, don't suppress your soul, because your soul may communicate something that is say like, hey, don't hang out with this person, And then you may say, well, I don't want to be judgmental. That's just ego. That's just somebody told you something, and you're just trying to um, have like a, you know what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is totally fine to have these, it's totally fine to put things in appropriate places. It is absolutely totally fine. It's not only fine, but it's supposed to be done like that. Okay? And if you do so, then when you put dark people in where they belong and like locked up away, and then maybe less dark people were in other environments, and you put everybody in the right environment, so then they could actually, the people above that level of pure darkness can help them, so then they get that, out of that, and then they get out of that, and little by little they can progress in their own vibration. But they got to grow to that point. You can't just mix it up. You can't just take some, really fucked up dark person and you put it in with a lot of, innocent souls, and you expect that everything's going to be fine. That's just retarded. So again, even the word judgment, it can be judgment in a sense from the ego, or it can be judgment in a sense from the soul, or discernment, if you will. If you like to split those words and say judgment and discernment is different, okay, fine. But there is a process of separation that must be done. Because I always use this metaphor when a caterpillar is turning into the butterfly cells, the organism splits them apart. Because if you expose the butterfly cells to the caterpillar cells attacks the butterfly cells. You can say, what the fuck is the same organism? Exactly. And that separation, that membrane between the two, meanwhile, while that process is happening, has to be there. It's nature. You see? And so overly empathetic people, they say, oh no, but it's kind of mean to lock them out. Bad news. Can't do that. You got to get some wisdom. And that's why uh, empathy is something that has to be very selective. And wisdom allows you to have a selective empathy. You have compassion for the darkest people in the world, but empathy is only for the people who are vibrating at your vibration. That's just the way it works. Because empathy is a specific thing. Empathy is basically is a connection, says that what am I, you are. And so when you empathize with someone dark, they're gonna pull you into darkness. But if you have compassion for somebody dark, meaning you don't open your heart because you're not gullible, but you have like that peace and compassion, it's like, yeah, you are where you are right now, it's all good. But I'm not freaking giving, my keys to, to my house. Are you kidding me? So anyway, hopefully that clarifies things. Okay? Separate what needs to be separate, unify what needs to be unified. And that is how the cookie crumbles. Peace. See you in the next one.